Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, yes, I am here with my boy Bellman. It's been a while since I've been out and about and on these videos with you guys. So, just wanted to say I am still around. I am still involved a little bit, but Matt has taken over the majority of the videos and everything like that, just with me being really, really busy. But it's nice to talk to you guys, and we're here to talk some Saturday football.
Yeah, excited to make this video with you, man. We are obviously still talking. People ask, where's Ryan? Here's Ryan. So we wanted to make a members-only video for the public for this Saturday NFL slate. Hyped to get on here with you, man. I know we had a nice little talk beforehand. Feels like old times being on here with you.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm not nervous, but I definitely don't feel quite as smooth as I would have a couple months ago.
It's funny. It used to be like just the routine every single day. And now it's like, I know what you mean. Like, not nervous, but like, I definitely have a different feeling now than I have had for the past videos I've made. I'll say that.
No doubt about it, man. So we're gonna roll through Saturday slate, and we'll try to get out a Sunday slate tomorrow. Starting at the quarterback position. So I'll make a statement, and you tell me if you agree. Obviously, we know the top two quarterbacks are the top two guys up there, Burrow and Allen. The one guy like Mac Jones, like if I made 100 lineups, I still don't think I would use him.
I agree that he's easily the fourth.
Okay, I mean, maybe if I made 100 lineups, he'd get like one spot for me. He's just not even in my player pool at the quarterback position. And ultimately, knowing that you probably got the money for it, are you more team Josh Allen or team Joe Burrow?
I'm more team Josh Allen, but the weather is a concern. I don't know how much of a concern it is though, because he runs so well. So I am team Josh Allen. And to be honest, I do think you can make a case for either quarterback in the Cincy game.
You can. I'm not really looking to roster Derek Carr, but with Darren Waller back in the fold, that obviously improves his upside. We've seen Derek Carr, to close out the year. They went on a nice long winning streak, but he's been wildly unproductive at the quarterback position. I mean, this guy's only gone over 20 points, once the last like 8-9 games of the season, but Darren Waller back can make a difference. I just like the upside of Josh Allen and Joe Burrow significantly more, so I would struggle to play Derek Carr.
I have no disagreements with that. Between Allen and Burrow, who's your guy? I think that I'm not sure. It's tough to choose between them, honestly. I'm not sure which is going to get more love because with Burrow, he's got better targets right now.
He absolutely does. So I think also I'm going to go with the side of the Josh Allen rushing touchdowns. And I would probably go there, but it's really, really close to me. And if the $600 like helps you get like a lineup you like a lot better, I'm fine going down to Joe Burrow. I do not see him as a kid who the moment's going to be too big for him.
Oh, completely agree. I love Burrow. I couldn't agree with that anymore. So I think I prefer Allen just because he's been there, done that, the rushing upside. But he's also facing a much tougher defense.
Agreed. He played really well against them the other day. Have you checked? You said you mentioned the weather. I have not looked at the NFL weather for this weekend.
I just saw earlier in the week Buffalo was supposed to be like a high of 9, low of 1. Not sure about snow and stuff, but it's not going to be like great conditions either way. But really, the wind and stuff. So I guess just really cold.
Okay, so Cincinnati looks all right. Temps are on 5 at kickoff. Usually cold isn't a big factor. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be a huge factor either way. Neither of these is going to be warm weather dome games or anything like that. So sounds like we're pretty full agreement on quarterback. If you can get up to Josh Allen, we subtly prefer him, but we definitely don't mind going down to Joe Burrow.
And I'll say this. I do think that the Buffalo-New England game just plays slower. I think you see New England run the ball a ton. Buffalo's going to run the ball a ton. Interested to see what happens if and when Buffalo gets up in this game, but I imagine that like this game's just going to play out slower with both teams doing the running.
No disagreements there. So we move over to the running back position, and I think for me, the guy most likely here to be on my roster is going to be Devin Singletary. It took me a couple weeks to buy into what they've been doing with him recently, but he has really become a focal point of this offense, and Belichick is going to want to make him run the football.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think Singletary, for me, like the two – Singletary and Mixon look like the two best backs on the slate, price considered. Mixon's obviously a lot more expensive. I'm with you. Singletary looks like the top dog here at that price point.
Right. I'm with you though. If I was going to make a lineup right now, it would be Singletary and Mixon. I would take those guys over Jacobs and Damian Harris. I don't know. Josh Jacobs isn't a bad play. I just think it's more likely I get to Mixon and Singletary.
He's a tournament play. Like he's a pivot off of Mixon or Singletary. If you think that, the Raiders are potentially winning in that game, the game flow. He also catches balls. So I could see him being a flex play using 3 running backs here if you can afford it.
Absolutely. Because I think all 3 of them are going to be popular.
Same. And they all 3 make sense.
Agreed. So, okay. Moving over to the wide receiver position, I think guys should fully expect that the Cincinnati wideouts, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, are likely going to be the 2 more popular receivers on this slate, which, again, you mentioned tournament plays. I like those guys and their upside more than I like Tyler Boyd, but Tyler Boyd is a lot cheaper and will probably be lower owned than those other guys.
Yeah, and he started off the year doing nothing, and now he's like clearly the 3rd guy. I'm with you. I think that he's definitely a sneaky play in tournaments, and I also like Hunter Renfrow a lot at that price point. I just think he looks really good here. More solid than spectacular, but he's just really cheap for, I think, his production in this spot in a game that I think the Raiders are going to be throwing a lot.
Okay. Does that change your opinion on him knowing that Darren Waller is back in the mix?
Doesn't make me like him more, but it doesn't make me not like him. I also like Waller, who's also very affordable.
Yeah. The upside for Waller is so much greater than any other tight end up here. It's not saying that Dawson Knox won't catch 2 touchdowns and beat him, but Waller is so cheap for who he is.
Yeah.
In a must-win game. He did get to knock a little bit of the rust off last week, even though I think it was 2 on 9. Yeah, 2 receptions on 9 targets. So it wasn't good. But he is so much more talented than all the other tight ends, almost combined in this situation, that he's going to be big-time chalk at this price.
As he should be. And, yeah, just so you said, does him being in take me off Renfrow? I still like Renfrow a lot, but the fact that I think that Waller is close to a lock at tight end, so I'm spending up a little bit there, might take me off Renfrow.
Yeah, this is one where, again, if you're building tournament lineups, tell yourself a story. If you think Cincinnati is, rolling in this game, which is not my opinion, I expect this to be a close game. So, but if you think about it differently, and you really want to hype Joe Mixon and maybe fade Burrow for Josh Allen and maybe not go as hard on the receivers, well, then doubling up on Renfrow and Waller, thinking that they're throwing a lot, makes a lot more sense.
Definitely. And I definitely could see a scenario where the Raiders-Bengals game just has a lot more points than the Bills and Patriots game. This is the 3rd time the Bills and Patriots have faced. I don't see either team going up and down the field here. I just don't see it.
No, I agree. I'm big on 2-game football slates like this. I think you have to be big about telling yourself a story on how you think the game is going to work out, especially when you're building tournament lineups. When you're building cash lineups, disperse it and make your best plays. But if you're trying to get to the top of the tournament, come up with something a little funkier, maybe doubling up on New England wide receivers, Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers.
I think that's my biggest problem with Josh Allen is I don't like his receivers here.
Yeah, I can see that. I also just think that's why I like Singletary in this game. I do going Burrow and Singletary, just thinking that Bill Belichick would be like, okay, look, you're running the football. That's all you're doing.
And I haven't built for this slate at all, but I guess I could also see going the reason Carr is in play is because I want Waller. I want Chase. I want Mixon. Singletary we talked about. I want Renfrow. Carr is a lot cheaper than those other guys. And I'm thinking about it right now. If I were making one lineup, I think I'd use Singletary and then basically everything else from the other game.
As far as defense goes, expect the Bills to be real chalky. They get Mac Jones, whereas everybody else is going up against the better quarterback. And they're not much more expensive. So if you're building a cash lineup, I would make getting the Bills defense a priority for me because this is not a regular season game. If they're down 21, they still got to try to win. And we haven't seen a ton of Mac Jones being stuck into a situation like this, but the Bills are going to be supreme chalk. So if you're playing a cash game, get here. And then, I don't know. I don't like any of the other defenses, but best guess if you're trying to get different in tournaments.
They're all in playing tournaments. The Bills are definitely the best on paper, but any D in tournaments, especially those large field ones, even the Raiders against Joe Burrow, if you play Joe Burrow, because if they return a punt for a touchdown or get a pick six, they will be optimal, even if they give up a ton of points.
Yeah, and as great as Joe Burrow is, he does have 14 picks this year.
Yeah.
You know, he will turn it over. He's a deep ball thrower, which leads to interceptions. You could get a funky pick six on this one.
And
he's not
a 2-game slate, if you get that, like that D is probably optimal if no other D scores.
Same thing goes for Josh Allen. The Patriots have the best defense out here.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen throws a pick every game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think the Patriots D, all the other Ds are in playing tournaments.
Yeah, but if you're playing a cash game, it should be a priority to get up to Buffalo.
Definitely. I mean, Buffalo's by far the best D on the slate.
So let's just do a real simple build with Josh Allen, and then we'll think about where we would end up as far as wanting to go down on quarterback. So seemed like we agree Singletary Mixon would be our build at running back. Just going to put the Bills defense in there. Darren Waller. So if like you're making a quote-unquote best lineup, I think this is how you would get started. Like if you're playing one lineup in a cash game in one single entry tournament, I think the Singletary Mixon Waller Bills is a big start, and then we lean towards Josh Allen. But with Joe Burrow being a close second.
Definitely. And I think if you go Allen here, you probably want one of his receivers, not Diggs, but either Sanders or Beasley. Maybe Dave. Like it's tough though, because they have Davis also. Like, I don't know. The more I talk about this, and this is more of a cash game build in tournaments, I'm not really feeling this game at all.
No, so the thing with Emmanuel Sanders is he's been out for a few weeks, but even before that, this guy had like 2 good games all year. Came in week 5 and week 3, and he's kind of been pretty much a no-show since then. Like, give me Cole Beasley over Emmanuel Sanders.
I agree. The biggest problem for me is like him being in doesn't make me like Beasley or Davis anymore.
No, it definitely makes me like Davis less.
Same. Like that's the problem. It's like I don't want to use Sanders, but would I be shocked if it's Sanders who has a good game? Not at all.
No, I wouldn't be shocked by it, but
I don't expect it though. To your point,
I'll take Cole Beasley and I'll save $100 because he's still going to be the slot wide receiver.
I agree. I'd rather go Beasley. Just I don't like any of these guys more now with Sanders in. Yeah, obviously, I think that you want a Bengals receiver too here, probably.
Probably. So, I think Jacoby Myers at 5K is a guy that a decent amount of love for. He's had a productive season. Hasn't scored a bunch of touchdowns, but I mean, this is a guy in one. Can't remember did he get hurt in that at Buffalo game? Oh no, that was the game they didn't throw.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been in double digits a lot recently. I think 5K is very reasonable for him. It helps your salary cap, and then it allows you to get up to a Jamar Chase or a T. Higgins.
I think that's the point. That's the point right there. Do you want Higgins and another decent guy, or do you want Chase and a punt?
Let's see. Jamar Chase, 3,300. I don't know if we have anything that's viable down here. Like Edwards, ugh. I mean, I guess.
In cash games, you probably don't want that. And also, like, the only reason I think Chase is good for cash games is because he's going to get a lot of love. He's not, like, really a cash game player. His season was more, like, up and down than anything. Like, big games and then not great games.
Yeah, the problem with Jamar Chase, if you don't play him,
he could go up.
There is, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 really big games this year. So it's a tough one.
He's priced like he's just not as consistent as the other top wideouts, though. He's got as high an upside as all of them, but he's not as consistent as even like a Justin Jefferson.
True. When you take a look at T. Higgins, whose season, also comes with his fair share of ups and downs, but has been a little bit more replicable.
I mean, listen, these guys are good. Burrow's good. You can't go wrong with any of these guys. I like your Tyler Boyd call. I think going Higgins and Boyd makes a lot of sense. Maybe you don't have to play Myers. I guess he would be the odd man out for me. But I also think using Burrow in cash games is a look because that salary matters.
I agree. And I would check back on the weather Saturday morning. 100%.
I just cannot see the Buffalo game having a lot of points at all. I can't see it.
I think you brought up a great point early on when you said, you don't think New England's trying to run the clock out. New England needs this to be a shorter possession game, right? You get into a shootout with Buffalo and you're done because you do not have the firepower that they have.
You said, like, what's going to happen when they're on 21-0? Like, you're right. They will have to throw and stuff, but they're done. I mean, like, they're I don't want to say no chance, but if they get in that spot, like, they're toast.
So I view the way New England has to play this game very similar to like how it is that I play Madden online sometimes.
Yeah.
And that is I run about 20 plays really, really well. And if I'm playing against a worthy opponent, like they're going to figure that out. So I want less possessions and I want to win that game 21-14 and eat the clock and make it less. Like New England, it's not the same thing because they have a bigger playbook, but they need this to be a shorter possession game. They need to have their best possessions and keep Josh Allen off the field. So, yeah, I could see them trying to eat clock, running it down over and over and over again. They're trying to win this game 17-14.
They know that. Like, it's Belichick. They know that. They know that Josh Allen is, they want to keep Josh Allen off the field. Their only chance to win this game is to control the clock.
Yeah, and if we said that one of these games was 35-34, I mean, to me, that's Vegas, Cincinnati, no question about it.
It's not even like, I don't even look at it like between these two games. If you had a full slate of games, like, every team in play, and these two games were on the slate, I think that the Buffalo New England game would be like maybe my lowest scoring game. And Cincinnati, Vegas, potentially one of the highest scoring games.
I agree. They played a 21-33 game. So I guess, it's possible. We're not going to sit here and tell you it's not impossible for there to be bigger points in here.
Sure.
14-10 was kind of a weird game, obviously, where they didn't throw it all. That 3 passing attempts is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. But I would bet on the Cincy Raiders game to be higher scoring every single time.
It's definitely possible. Anything's possible in sports and stuff. I wonder, though, first off, these teams are both defensive, like, especially New England, running the ball, defensive-oriented. I wonder how many times teams that have played for the third time in the playoffs, what the point total has been. Do you know what I mean? Because I have to imagine it's low. The more that teams see each other, the better the defenses are, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know that. That's just like me hypothesizing.
Yeah, it is starting to make me lean towards Joe Burrow. So let's just hypothetically, you get Burrow in there. Well, and I am going to be hesitant to go Burrow, Mixon, and 2 receivers, though.
Sure. I mean, I get that.
So, if you think this one's a shootout, Waller, Renfro, Higgins, Mixon, Burrow, now I got a flex spot in 4,100, pick whatever's left for you, I guess, at that point.
Not using Chase or Diggs really helps the build.
Oh, for sure. And I'm more scared of fading Chase than I am Diggs. I don't think Diggs is going to have a monster game here, personally. Could be wrong.
But I do think his floor is higher.
Yep. I mean, he's not been the same as last year, but it's still a really good year, right?
I think it's, still a really good year. I mean, he's still an elite wide receiver.
I mean, if you want to talk about quiet 100-catch, 1,200-yard touchdown season, and this was a quiet way to accumulate these stats.
No one talked about him at all this year.
I mean, he had 2 games over 100 yards all year. That's insane to me.
That is insane to me. It's insane to me that happened and that he didn't make a peep about it all year. Shows you what the difference is when you have a real quarterback and, guys obviously respect Josh Allen,
Yeah, that's a really quiet year. Because if you look at his numbers, obviously Chase's season numbers are better.
Right.
From a yardage perspective, he goes deep, touchdowns a little bit more. But you remember these Jamar Chase games, specifically the one a couple days ago against Kansas City where he absolutely went off.
That's one of the best games of any wide receivers ever had.
Yep. I remember the game against Green Bay because obviously I was watching it. He had 200 plus against Baltimore. It's kind of like what you're saying. If I had to bet on 10 points, give me Stephon Diggs. If I want 40 or 30, even give me Jamar Chase.
Definitely. I don't even think that's a question.
So, I don't know. It's interesting. It's all about how you play. Chase is more of a Bellman game log, and Diggs is more of a Ryan game log.
At this point, Chase is a big play waiting to happen on every single play. Diggs, I feel like, is more of, he is that guy, but not like Chase. He's more of like, if he's going to get that big game, it's going to be because he caught like four like 10-yard touchdowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, okay. I think we've made our viewpoints on this one, pretty clear. We have a subtle, I think the Joe Burrow at 7,300 and Josh Allen at 79. I think that's an appropriate price difference about how I feel about them.
Same. I mean, Josh Allen is still the guy. If we were doing like a drafters draft, he would be the first overall pick.
Good way to put it. As far as running, I mean, both seem to figure Belichick's going to make him run the ball, and they've shown a commitment to Singletary lately, which I've really liked because we've always liked him.
Yeah,
and I think he's
I never feel
a guy
great.
Right here.
I never feel great about a Buffalo running back, but how could you not about Singletary right now? I mean, all these games that they've played recently are basically must win for them. He's the guy.
Yeah, Zach Moss. I mean, he hasn't done anything recently. I know Matt Breida is back and forth between playing and not playing for a while. He's really become the guy here. So, I mean, it's a lot easier to buy into him right now. Doesn't mean they won't change it up on us, but I feel good about Singletary. And if he goes back to his 5 to 10 carries and then they ride a different guy, so be it.
I agree with you. I feel good about Singletary too. He's been a big part of their offense recently. And as you said, he's good. We liked him. I've always thought he's the best back there. I think that's a big reason they're playing better, is they've given him the job.
And going back to the Cole Beasley Buffalo thing, I don't care what you game plan. Belichick is not game planning to stop Cole Beasley. Slot wide receivers always have a way to be productive. Well, Gabriel Davis could actually be the guy over Emmanuel Sanders this week. Cole Beasley is going to be in there in 3 wide receiver sets no matter what.
I think Davis and Sanders are tournament plays, and Beasley's the safe guy.
Yeah, definitely. And that cap space helps. I feel good. You're going to get 4 catches, 50 yards out of Cole Beasley, give or take.
Sure. And I was going to say, going to tight end, the only other, we weren't at wide receiver. Were we at wide receiver or were we at tight end? Dawson Knox would be the other guy, just because we like Josh Allen, and you could play 2 tight ends here.
Absolutely. And the thing about Dawson Knox is he plays in the high-powered offense where he can score touchdowns. He had a couple of nice games this season, often because he caught multiple touchdowns or at least had yardage with a touch. He had 9 touchdowns this year.
And if you're using Josh Allen, you probably want 1 or 2 of his weapons. You don't have to, but Josh Allen's the guy here, unless he's running in 2 or 3 touchdowns. Other guys,
he's going to carry Diggs, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be Diggs. I wonder the ownership between Diggs and Chase, because I actually think it's going to be about even. I want to say it's going to be all Chase, but people are going to use Josh Allen and will want Diggs with him,
Yeah, I won't share other websites' information on public broadcasts, but it looked pretty close from my memory.
Yeah, that makes sense, just because I imagine the quarterbacks are close and just how people build. If someone's using Allen, they're going to look to lock in Diggs more so than Chase, and vice versa if they're using Burrow.
Agreed. So that's all I got.
That's all I got too, man. Really fun making this video. Hopefully we can get on here again tomorrow. I know you love playoff NFL. Who doesn't? I'm going to be watching in the corner crying because the Browns stink. That also makes me think, I think about how the Browns played the Bengals this year, that the Raiders can definitely score. The Browns went up and down the field on the Bengals the first time they played. So the Bengals are a lot of hype. Their offense is great, but I'm not going to be shocked if they lose this game.
No, not at all. I don't think the moment's too big for Joe Burrow, but it's his first playoff game.
Same.
No experience on this team at all whatsoever. You never know even if it's fine for Burrow, he's still got all these young wide receivers, coach with not really, playoff pedigree or anything like that. So I would not be surprised to see the Raiders win this one either.
And the Bengals were pretty up and down this year. Had some very good wins. We saw against Kansas City. They blew out Baltimore. They also lost to the Jets. And the Raiders were one of the most bizarre teams all year, I think. Because at one point, when they lost to the Giants and then got killed by the Chiefs, they looked dead in the water. No chance to make the playoffs. Then they finished out the season real strong. I mean, beating the Chargers. They got some momentum. And I don't think he's a great QB. Derek Carr is good enough.
Underappreciated. Yeah, he's underappreciated.
He's definitely underappreciated. good enough. I mean, I like the cut of his jib too. I do. He'll make mistakes. He's not Aaron Rodgers, but like, there aren't many guys that are like that.
So, with your team out of it, like, I don't know if you put any bets down or anything like that. What's your Super Bowl matchup you're predicting?
Green Bay Buffalo.
Green Bay Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay. As a Packer fan, I live here in Green Bay. You guys know who I'm a fan of. I've never hated it at all whatsoever. It's a little scary going into the playoffs right now because, like, I was, tell some of my clients at work and stuff, like, there's no excuses this time. Barring, like, Aaron Rodgers, getting hurt or something like that in the, early part of the first game, like, we're the best team. We have the best record, or at least would have if we had played to win the last game. We're healthy. We're getting healthier as the days go.
I was worried about Tampa, but, like, they're just not healthy. They won it last year, even though they have Tom Brady. Like, we've talked about, their defense went on that crazy run. Buffalo reminds me of Tampa last year. I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl if it is Buffalo and Green Bay. The NFC is good, though. So the only thing I'll say to you, like, is, like, I agree with you. You are the favorites, but, like, any of those teams, like the Rams, the Cardinals, even the 49ers, the Cowboys, like, the Packers will need to play good games against those teams. Like, if they don't show up one game and play they will lose.
There's no cakewalk in the NFC playoffs.
No.
I'm not saying it's an easy run. I'm just saying
Philly is by far the worst team.
Yeah, we're in a great spot, and if we don't win, there's no excuses on this one. Like, if you go back and look at Aaron Rodgers' NFC Championship games, he wasn't supposed to win any of them. Like, the way that they worked out, like the game against San Francisco 2 years ago when they ran for 300 yards and Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball -8 times, not on him. You can do whatever Skip Bayless do to try to blame that game on Rodgers, saying he didn't motivate the defense enough. That one's not on him. The game against the Falcons, where it clearly wasn't his fault, blah, blah, blah. Like, they don't win this one, or even last year, going back to against the Bucs. Again, that wasn't Rodgers' fault. You can say
their defense was so bad. Against the Falcons, I remember their defense was so bad. That was the same year they beat the Giants, right, at home?
No, we beat the Cowboys on that miracle kind of like end of the game play. Oh, yeah, the Odell Beckham one. Yep. Like the boat trip.
I don't remember. I thought they were losing to the Giants, and then
Randall Cobb, Hail Mary.
Yeah, at halftime.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the same year? No, that was also the year they beat Dallas, and then they lost to Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
They beat the Giants, then they beat Dallas, then they lost to Atlanta, and their defense was awful the whole time.
Running single coverage on Julio Jones with the guy who was on the next year.
That was the year that Atlanta lost the Super Bowl, the 28-3.
Yeah.
Man, how they've fallen.
Oh, no kidding, right? Anyway, so all right, Buffalo, Green Bay, I can get on board with. I'm more Green Bay. I'm more State Farm, Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes. But I do respect the other teams in the NFC. And if we lose to the Rams, Cardinals, I don't think it's fluky, they're not capable of beating us. I just think all the pressure's on the Packers because they have home field throughout, back-to-back MVP awards, been to the, 13 wins, 3 straight years. And there's no excuses this year because not only are we healthy, we legitimately got healthier, going into these games. So, if you lose, it's on you. There's nothing else to blame.
That's the one I really wanted to ask you about. Who do you like in the only Monday night game, Rams and Cardinals? The Cardinals look like such frauds right now. I don't know, they're only good on the road. I like the Rams in that game. I hate the Rams, but I think they win that game. What do you think? The Rams, actually, in my opinion, are probably the Packers' biggest threat. Really?
Because I'd rather play the Rams than the Cardinals.
Really?
Yeah, I have no trust for Matt Stafford in that situation.
That's fair.
Games coming in Rams. X factor with a guy like Kyler Murray are those legs. You can prepare all you want, but he just, shells out, big game, running all over the place, can't stop him.
I will say, based on what I just said, I don't disagree with you. The Cardinals on the road, I know that maybe it doesn't mean anything, are a lot better than the Rams on the road. So, I trust the Cardinals on the road a lot more. What about the Cowboys? So who do you think wins that game, the Rams or Cardinals?
I have no strong opinion on that one. That is as close to a coin flip as you could possibly pick. And when it really comes down to it, I just don't want to play Tom Brady.
Fair enough. What about Dallas?
Not only I think San Fran wins that game.
Okay. That's another one I'm really torn.
Yeah. Because not only is Tom Brady the GOAT, he might be the luckiest guy of all time, too. Just like his defenses go on hot runs, weird things work out with him. Like, I don't want to play him. I just don't. And he scares me more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, and even though they're hurt, like they have the easiest first round matchup by far. And they're still going to be a threat no matter what because they got Tom Brady, like you said.
Yeah, I actually give Philly a chance in that game, but not a good one. I give Philly a chance, and I give Pittsburgh.
I don't know who I give more of a chance, honestly, in that game. I think I give Pittsburgh more of a chance. Neither team, I think, is as much of a chance at all. Would be two huge upsets if either one happened.
Yeah, for sure. All right. It was good to talk to you, man. It was good to talk to all you guys. Still around a little bit, and hopefully see you guys again tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, guys.